All right, let's go to the media. Ferocious reaction to the Tucker Carlson story. 6 years ago when I left Fox News, there was ferocious reaction to that. I lived through it. And that's why we started the No Spin News that you're watching now or listening to our on the radio. 100 affiliates pick us up every day, audio. And Carlson, you know, he had a lot of fans and a lot of people who hate his guts. Most of those people work in the corporate media. Roll the tape.
Word has just come down that Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. They thank him for his service to the network and hosted a prior contributor. Wave. You know, we'll talk more about it tomorrow but we wanted to make sure that we let you know what was going on.
Well, can I ask the audience if they'll help me do something? Come on, folks. Na 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 na. Hey, goodbye.
This isn't about ideology here. This isn't about left or right or taxes. The man was consistently saying that black people don't deserve to be here. He had no use for African Americans or Jewish people or Hispanic people or anything else like that unless he was platforming their bigotry like he did with Kanye West when he was talking about Nicki Minaj and anti-vax. He only used people who were not white in order to promote bigotry.
Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. What I will say, though, is while I'm very glad that the person that was arguably responsible for some of the largest, driving some of the most amounts of death threats and violent threats, not just to my office, but to plenty of people across the country.
I might point out that Tucker Carlson had to move out of Washington, D.C. because people were coming to his home and disturbing him and his family in a violent way. Remember that? Maybe somebody want to remind Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez about that. Celebrity react, very muted, not surprised. Most of the left-wing bomb throwers like George Clooney, people like that, silent. Rob Reiner, Liz Cheney, Stephen King, Behar, of course, Chrissy Teigen, Meghan McCain, they all said bad things about Tucker Carlson. Now, I have said I've been on a lot of shows. Some of you might have seen me on News Nation last night. I'll be on News Nation again tonight with Dan Abrams, talking about the business side of this, which we are going to talk about with our very astute guest in a moment. And, you know, basically people are going to want to know the inside story, and I know it. I know what happened there, and I gave it to you yesterday. If you missed it and you're premium concierge members, you can access it anytime and get a free transcript of it. Okay, it was a business decision made to remove Tucker Carlson from his 8 p.m. slot. So cable companies make money in two ways. The system that you pay every month, Comcast or Fios or any of those big, they pay Fox News a fee to carry the network. And it's a big fee. So in the beginning, when I started the network along with Roger Ailes and a bunch of other very talented people, we got no money because we were new. And then it built up to the highest fee of any cable news operation by far. So that money is the centerpiece of their profit center. And then they get advertising. Now, Mr. Carlson didn't have much lucrative advertising because of the left-wing boycott against him. All right, so Mercedes and these people, you know, they just buckle. So his program wasn't the big profit center, Carlson. Nevertheless, a lot of SNC viewers, if you believe my mail, and I'll read it at the end of the program, are very angry. And there's no doubt that Fox News today is a lot different than when I left it 6 years ago. There's no question about that. Joining us now from New York City is Dr. Lisa George. She's Associate Professor of Economics from Hunter College. So there's a lot of things I want to ask you about. The corporate media, which influences politics and elections and cultural things, as I was just pointing out, the corporate media isn't really driven by ideology, even though most of it's left. It's driven by profits. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Okay.
It's definitely driven by profits over the long run.
Right. So profits are sacrosanct, and if the company believes that an individual is going to hurt their profit margin, that individual is going to go. I mean, it's as simple as that. It doesn't matter who it is. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Okay. From your perch as an economics teacher, do you believe that Fox News will decline in revenue and profits because of the moves they have made?
Well, I think the answer to that question depends a little on your time perspective and the balance of what's coming in the next few years. So we're at the start, we're at a low news period, kind of easing into a new election cycle. And there are definitely downsides of moving away from a widely viewed journalist and program, but there's also opportunities. So Fox wants and needs middle of the road, undecided viewers who maybe haven't developed firm opinions on every issue that will come ahead yet. And that gets harder and harder the longer a journalist is on the air and their views on many issues become known and fixed. It's hard to move away from those. And so if there was going to be a time to make a switch, this seems like a good time for that switch.
Okay. Now, I don't know whether you follow my career, but we did that on the O'Reilly Factor. In fact, we took surveys. And the last survey that we took, the audience was comprised, I believe it was 50% conservative, 20% liberal, and 30% independent. And I programmed for a wide audience. And we were able to pull that off. 16 years, number one, consecutive years. Mr. Carlson, he programmed hard right. However, they were very loyal. Those viewers to him were extremely loyal to him. And they came in. The average cable news viewer comes in twice a week. His people came in more than that. And now his people are canceling a lot of their subscriptions to Fox. You don't think that's going to hurt them, bottom line?
So I'm not so sure about the canceling subscriptions to Fox over some period of time, but you're right to emphasize that it's not the viewer of a particular program at a particular time, but is this something that kept people on the network and demanding that Time Warner or now Comcast keeps this station? And there is possibly room to make up for some of that with new advertising revenue and new subscribers as well.
But Fox Nation is where Carlson really drove the profit center, not on his program, as I pointed out, because he couldn't get advertising. But the Fox Nation, which is different from Fox News, that's a fee, a separate fee that people pay, like BillO'Reilly.com. You pay it, and then you have total access to whatever we do. But Fox Nation is hemorrhaging now because Carlson was their main star. But let's move ahead to CNN. Now, CNN has collapsed in revenue because of their hate Trump policy, just drove every discretionary viewer out of there. And then when they had a management change and the management said, look, we're not going to do this anymore. We don't like Trump, but we're not going to do 24/7 trying to put a nail in his head. The viewers did not come back to CNN. It's a disaster over there. Sign on to sign off.
So I think one of the things we've learned from a few decades of research in media markets is that viewers really do like and appreciate news that aligns with their general attitudes and preferences. Not
Right.
necessarily on every single topic, but they do like to see their point of view reflected
question.
in news. And so that makes it difficult to move your position around on the spectrum. So Fox has centered its position possibly on the left. There's more battles, but once you put the stake in the ground, it's hard to shift. And I think that's some of what you see in right now.
At CNN, for sure, they don't know what they want to be over there, and that's why. But at Fox News, they have another problem coming up. And see, my opinion is that Fox News revenue is going to deeply, deeply decline because they don't want Trump, the management, ownership of Fox News doesn't want Trump back in the White House. And the MAGA people, and that's a substantial portion of the Fox audience, they're going to see that. They've already seen it. And that's going to cause more angst on the part of this corporate outfit. I'll give you the last word.
I think that possibly this battle is one that you've learned well, which is the center right cable news market versus the internet pieces and the smaller cohorts in these becoming niche markets. And so I personally don't think the MAGA crowd is enough to drive the Fox News today away from its center-right position, but I might be wrong.
Well, no, it's not that. They're going to be mad. So you don't want to get, if you're a television or radio person, you don't want people angry with you. That's not the way to success. I mean, you can tee them off, you know, and I have. I mean, I'm not afraid to do that. And one of the reasons that Fox got in trouble with Dominion, as you know, I'm sure, is that they pandered to the audience rather than telling the audience the truth. And that started this whole chain of events, which I think is going to lead to bad news for Fox News in the future. Doctor, thanks very much. We appreciate you coming on and taking the time. All right.
Thank you.